Virus relief payments this weekend. I'm John DeMaster from the TriStateAlert.com newsroom. That $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief package signed by the president yesterday. On First News this morning, State Representative Paul Schemmel saying,
this relief package, so-called relief package, is an absolute outrage. It's an absolute outrage. So last night I got the breakdown, what the state of Pennsylvania is going to receive, over $30 billion, by the way, what every county, so Franklin County, over $30 million. What every township, what every school district. Antrim Township, $1.5 million. I texted that to a supervisor I know in that township, and he said, yeah, we don't need the money at all, but we're going to get $1.5 million.
You can hear that whole interview, newstalk1037fm.com. A teen arrested on gun charges for shooting a gun from a vehicle. It was Wednesday night. Police were called to the area of Frederick Street and Memorial Boulevard for a fight at Frederick Manor. When Hagerstown police got there, they say the teen was firing shots from the car. They pulled that car over, arrested him. He's awaiting formal charges. Public health restrictions being loosened in Maryland. Restaurant, retail, religious centers, fitness centers, and others able to operate at full capacity as of 5 o'clock this afternoon. Each county can decide whether or not they'd prefer to keep the current restrictions in place. Your next news in less than 30 minutes. Breaking news at once. I'm John DeMaster on the 1037 FM.
You weld like no other. Maybe it's painting. You're better than Rembrandt. First shift, second shift, or third shift. Opportunity employer. APX is hiring in Greencastle and Mercersburg. Here's where you send your resume. info@apx-enclosures.com. Painting, assembling, welding, you spin the lathe. Let's get to work. Info@apx-enclosures.com. Cash. Your car is worth cash at Jesse James Auto Mart. Let's talk about your well cared for, low miles used car and send you home with cash. Visit Jesse James Auto Mart and come with a friend. After you're done with the deal, you'll need a ride home. Or just drive away with this week's special. A cream Buick LaCrosse, 8,700 on the odometer, 13,909 drives it away. Jesse James Auto Mart, 4599 Molly Pitcher Highway, JesseJamesAutoMart.net.
Hi, this is Ann at the Butcher Shop in Chambersburg. Among the thousands of items that leave our store every day, maybe you've wondered which one is the most popular. How about cupcakes? Nope. We sell more of our original recipe ham salad than anything else. Have you had it lately? Maybe it's time to give it a try, along with hundreds of our other original recipes made fresh every day right here. And our newly expanded Heat and Eat line offers a wide variety of meals to go. From entrees to sides to soups to dessert, no doubt the Butcher Shop makes something you will love. The Butcher Shop, 410 Stauffer Avenue and mybutchershop.com.
What's that smell? What's that spill? What's that puffback? Spills, stink, puffbacks, or a mess from your fireplace. Accidents happen, and when it's too big, too smelly, or you're too busy to clean it up, you call Rainbow International of Waynesboro right away. The Fire, Water, Smoke, Mold Clean Team has your back. Home or business, winter system startup mishaps. Rainbow International of Waynesboro, 788-3030, 788-3030.
Satellite weather from All Seasons Vacations. You need a vacation, and your plans to beaches or sandals starts locally with a call to 717-597-7412. Let Wanda take you away. AllSeasonsVacations.net.
From the McCraryWay.com Satellite Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Pat Pagano. Tonight, clear and chilly, mid-30s. Sun, some clouds, 50 to 55 Saturday. Sunny on Sunday will be in the mid-50s. Mainly sunny for Monday, 45 to 50. My forecast, always on demand at newstalk1037fm.com.
Virtual consultations are now available for your air conditioning and heating needs. Virtual consultations with McCray Heating and Air Conditioning. Safe, convenient, simple. Visit McCrayWay.com. On the Tri-States News Talk, 1037 FM. On local and live, we're working alongside with you. 5 o'clock Friday must mean one thing. State Senator Colonel Doug Mastriano is ready for your phone calls at 877-709-1037. 877-709-1037. Let's say hello to Bill DeMoss. Hello, William.
Good evening, Patrick. Senator, good to be with you.
It's nice to see you as well, Doug, straight off of a trip down 81 southbound out of Harrisburg and all the things that are going on right now. Before we even start with the phones here this afternoon for the next hour, tell us what is the general feel and general theme of the Capitol right now? It was last year I was walking around the hallways with my mom, who was gracious enough to have a tour set up. I think I know a couple of people that managed to set me up with a nice walk around there. But what's it like up there right now, Doug?
It's still closed, and it's not going to reopen until the end of the month, obviously with restrictions. Their constituents aren't in the building. The lobbyists aren't in there. Special interest groups. It's pretty empty. It's very quiet. It's unusually quiet. Normally it's a beehive activity, even when we're not in session. Usually there's school groups in there. I mean, life a year ago is so different. And yet this is the anniversary of the shutdown of the state. And, of course, we're coming up on the anniversary here next week of the shutdown of the businesses, with the stroke of a pen. And it's pretty surreal. We started off 2020 last year, like it was going to be the new roaring 20s, promise, lots of, success, jobs, and everything's been flipped on its head.
Yeah, the last year, as I fondly recall, with many of the folks that are in the business community of how excited they were coming off of 2019 and couldn't wait to tackle 2020, and then all of us had to face all sorts of new things, and we got to meet a lot of people and see a lot of fights out there. Specifically, the business owner at the bar and restaurant in Gettysburg, who was faced of the things that people were faced with, her especially. Have you been in touch with our folks in Gettysburg at the Brewworks or Gettysburg?
Yeah, right. Yeah, we've been in touch with Melissa. She's doing well. What's really tough is, of course, she had just opened that business up. And so that to face the uncertainties of COVID, the whims of the Secretary of Health, making stuff up, not following the science, although that's what they always say they're following. Yeah, right. I got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn. They're pushing on, but so much has changed this past year. So I was just today. I spoke on the steps for the first time this year of the Capitol, and it was really depressing and down. It was remembering the loved ones that are in the lockdowns in these long-term care facilities. The left and the governor wants to quibble over words. We don't have nursing homes in the state. Okay, you know what we're talking about. If it's nursing homes, long-term care facilities, I get it. But so many people a year on still haven't had physical contact with their loved ones. Thankfully, some of the homes have opened up, and have made some accommodations. But that's after 200-300 days of no contact. And it's really heartbreaking that so many people in the state don't have a voice, whether they're the elderly or special needs kids who seem to be forgotten in this whole debacle here of this science-denying process. Look, we have examples of states that have handled it better. South Dakota, Florida. Go down the list, Texas. And so why in Pennsylvania is it so heavy-handed? And why do we have these failed policies like New York where sick were sent back into the homes? And where is the accountability and the justice for those who made that terrible decision?
Tell you what, Tom Wolf is probably very happy at this point that he is not Andrew Cuomo. So I think everybody is happy that they're not Andrew Cuomo right now. So
how quick that turn!
He's
the darling of the media, to the villain now.
Right,
wow.
Emmy award winning.
Yes, he won an award, appropriately so.
Yeah, right, and what a show! What an actor!
Wow,
and how sad to make money off of the backs of so many people with so much despair and so sad of a story out there. Let's go to the phones here first and find out. Hey, Bill, I hate to interrupt you over there. I know you're taking another call. Who's on line one for me there, brother? Who do you got there? Terry, Ford City. All right. Terry, how are you this afternoon?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm very good. You're on with State Senator Colonel Doug Mastriano. Where's Ford City? I haven't heard of Ford City, Doug. I'm sure you know where it is, but I don't.
It's in western Pennsylvania, Armstrong County, just north of Pittsburgh.
Okay, well, very good. Terry, you have a question for the Colonel. We can't wait to hear what's on your mind. Please.
Good evening, sir. Well, I'd like to talk about the constitutions that are on the ballot coming up in May.
Okay, fire away. Go ahead.
So the verbiage has come up as quite a concern because of seems a little bit difficult for folks to understand what exactly the intent of the amendments are. And I know that a lot of legislators have been trying to get the word out on what the amendments really mean and how important it is for us to vote yes for them. would it be possible when we put constitutional amendments on the ballot that rather than the Secretary of State drafting that verbiage, that the verbiage is simply written out as part of the legislation?
That is fantastic. We're of the same mind here. And a constitutional amendment to put the power back in the hand of the people and not a bureaucrat. I love that idea, because the way it's broken down right now, obviously, it takes a lot to move a constitutional amendment. It takes 2 sessions in the House and Senate. That's not easy. So you basically have 4 votes, in a committee and then on the floor of each respective body. And then it goes to the people. And obviously, as Terry rightly said, the language is drafted up constitutionally, bureaucratically by our Secretary of State, who, of course, is appointed by the governor. They are not keen on this because it limits the governor's power. It's funny, on the floor of the Senate and in the House, the Democrats, who purport to be the voice of the people, were arguing against putting the power of emergency orders in the hands of the people. The irony of that. And so basically there's 3 questions on there. 2 of them I'd like to address. The first one, of course, limits the governor's powers from 90 days to 3 weeks. That's good, because right now it's 90 days. And number 2 is he cannot self-renew. So number 2, right now the governor, it doesn't matter if it's 3 weeks. If he could self-renew, there's no point to it. And so instead of the governor having the power to self-renew emergency orders, as he does now every 90 days.
And he just did so 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right. We're at it again.
Until May 20-something now. So this is more than a year in, without any deference to the General Assembly, without no vote from the Senate and House, the voice of the people. So number 2 is also, number 1 should be, in my view, is a yes, because we do want to limit the governor's powers. It's been catastrophic this past year. And number 2, my view, of course, is yes, because when the governor says, yes, I need 3 more weeks, instead of that becoming the law of the land, has to go to the General Assembly for a simple majority vote. And that is what is wrong with that, where the power is back in the hands of the people.
And frankly, Doug, if you only need a textbook example, this governor has already had overreach month after month after year. All you have to do is look at the overreach and the power-hungry maniac that is in New York right now. Use him as the poster child. Tom Wolf is a milquetoast. You never see him. You never hear from him. The superstar Grammy Award-winning Governor Cuomo is a perfect example of, if you want to hand the keys over to the kingdom, look at what Governor Cuomo did. Now, let's learn from that here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Here's a textbook example of craze, of power-hungry craze, superstardom being interviewed by his brother, and all sorts of passes being given to him. So questions 1 and 2 are yes and yes.
If you want the power in your hands, not in some future governor's hands, yes, yes.
And the third one?
The third one deals with I'm not quite sure it's necessary. The Pennsylvania Family Association, we asked them for their input on it. Basically, it has something to do with equal rights, but in our Constitution, I do believe we have that. And if it's an issue of enforcement, that's different. So on 1 and 2, I'm a firm yes. On number 3, I mean, people are recommending a yes on that. I'd say read it for yourself and let me know. But here's the bottom line. Obviously, the governor is not in support of questions 1 and 2, because obviously the governor wants to keep this power, this extreme power. And it was by design, I believe, that the Secretary of State put it in this complicated legalese, so when you read it, you have no idea what it's saying. So now it's up to the General Assembly to let people know what these things really mean, and then you decide how you want to vote.
And Terry, a great point on that as well. You would think that in the off, say we have a Republican governor. All right, say we don't get this to the finish line, and is this one of these bills that had to marinate for 2 years as well? Did this have to? We had to propose it, and then it had to sit and bake for a year.
So normally it's a 2-year process.
Yes.
However, we acted on it quickly, and it's 2 sessions. So that's why we did it legally. We did it within 2 sessions. We did it towards the end of last year and then early this year, and that's why it's going to be in the ballot in May. And you'll notice, so we can ask for revision to the language, but that would set it back by another year.
Yeah.
So we're like, no, I guess we're stuck with what we got.
Right. So to your point, Terry, it'd be nice if we do get a Republican governor. I don't know. Maybe that's a possibility. I don't know if there's any good candidates out there for a Republican governor out there. I'm just throwing that out there. But it'd be good to see that proposed on the opposite side. So if we don't get it done this time around, let's see it get done with the next incoming Republican governor.
Let's get it done this year.
Okay.
If we 18 May, I know people are mad and upset. I am too. A lot of odd things happened last year in the general election, and I'm never going to vote again. Please get out and vote. This is not just a Democrat-Republican primary on May 18th. Independents, you get to vote on these three constitutional amendments. So please go out and vote. It does matter.
Yeah, and why wouldn't you, Terry? Make the argument. Why wouldn't you want to have the power back with your representatives and your state senators and take it away? The governor's got to be able to make the case to you guys, Doug. Yes, Terry,
yes.
Don't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason to have continued on this entire past year with input from the General Assembly or the constituents in Pennsylvania to the emergency orders and the mandates that the governor and his team have been laying down on the state.
Well, could you imagine, Terry, if the General Assembly had the power to overrule and overturn the governor's edicts on here, that the people suffering, that the moms and dads of students, that the business owners, that the people with loved ones in elder care facilities, they would have put the pressure on this House and Senate to reopen the state, as you did last June. We finally, overturned 836, but it got vetoed by the governor. But if we had that power in our hands, it's more directly connected to the people than a governor of 13 million, rather than reps representing 50, 60,000 people and senators representing 250,000. We're a lot closer to the people, the voice of the people. To have a governor who's basically been hiding in some basement for the past year, still reportedly, we don't even really know what happened in November, reportedly got COVID. The media didn't care to dig down like they did in my life and my privacy on that. So much for HIPAA, right? And meanwhile, my wife and I are out meeting 15, 20,000 people last year. We got it about the same time as the governor. So where is the leadership and where is the accountability? There's going to be no accountability if any governor, present or in the future, has such unrestrained power.
Terry, a good call, and it's yes, and you need to do the dig on the third one. So very good. Thanks for the call.
Absolutely. Thanks. Have a great evening.
You too.
Thank you, guys. A great call.
877-7037, our dial-in number. The program is called The Colonel on the Call. You can't get a hold of your governor. It's hard to find your lieutenant governor. Sorry, a little fuzzy on that one, which is appropriate, speaking of fuzzy. So let's hit Dave right now in Waynesboro, and he wants to talk about school issues. Dave, it's all yours. You're on with State Senator Doug Mastriano. Please.
Hey, Colonel. Hey, Pat. Good to talk to you guys. Just wanted to correct you real quick, Pat. I'm glad Cuomo did not get a Grammy. It was an Emmy.
Oh, okay.
A Grammy would have been terrible.
Okay.
We had to listen to him sing.
Yeah. Listen. Grammy, I don't watch the shows, so I could. But thanks for making it right. I appreciate it. Go ahead, Dave. What's your question?
Okay, so I got two kids. Waynesboro area school district. One of them's in third grade, and it's come to my attention that ever since Biden was elected, it seems like, or inaugurated, his teachers sort of like, in my opinion, started to go on like a little social justice, like a green light for it, adding pronouns to her email address. And, of course, whatever, she can do that. But my question is, like, what happens if one of the kids who she emails asks about it? Refusing to read Dr. Seuss books, instead reading books on illegal immigrants and the challenges they face, and other books she read. And again, these are third graders. Another book she read was masked as the idea of, people being who they are, the real individual, but it was basically explaining to third graders that it's okay to cross-dress, carry purses or dress as a girl if you're a little boy, vice versa. I'm like, it's a third grader. I never thought I would have to be having these conversations with my kid when they got home and having to deprogram this garbage. But, what can I do? I mean, I have options to send my kid to private school or, charter schools and stuff like that. And it's just shocking because I've already reached out to the principal and, she was sort of taking the defense. Well, these books are on the, National Education Association website, recommended. But it's like this teacher's taking Biden being in office and, now she's using it as her position as a third grade teacher as a political pulpit, and it's shocking to me. I'm frustrated, and I just don't know what to do.
All right, good question. I'm not certain the current. I bet you, not to put words in your mouth, but Dave, what happened when you approached the teacher?
Well, I sent an email, and I was respectful. She didn't email me back directly. The principal contacted me and basically told me that the teacher was contacting me directly, which is frustrating in itself.
Okay, all right. Stop right there. Let me hold you on that one. That's preposterous. That's ridiculous. And I'll let the Colonel take over here. Is there something we should be thinking about when it comes to laws, lawmakers, and especially what a parent, a taxpayer, is facing here, Colonel?
That the schools have been so politicized, and it's happening in such a red district here. It just shows you how tone deaf and how powerful the unions have become. I don't know how a teacher would not respond directly back to you when you have a serious question, and it's completely appropriate that teacher needs to respond to you, and that the principal would provide top cover is a bit disconcerting to me. Obviously, we want, and one of my things before I heard that you already engaged was parents need to be actively engaged and continuously exchanging information with the teachers and with the leadership of the school. You always have the school board, of course. I know a lot of people want to wave that by, but we need local representation of people that are going to be good stewards of the money, but also provide oversight and accountability of the schools via the school board and not become part of the problem. So maybe you think about running for office. This is a big sales pitch, of course, for school choice. Now, I know you said your options are limited, but if you were given a voucher with a certain amount of money to help offset the costs, go to a private school, maybe that would be a better option. Right now, we don't have that option in Pennsylvania. I don't see anything wrong with school choice there. Competition between the public school and the private sector, that would be fantastic, and I think it would provide a better result. Because right now, we're the 12th most expensive school system in the nation, producing 28th quality student. And I predict that number, these are NEA numbers now, comparing all 50 states. I bet you, because of the draconian, heavy-handed, unrealistic, science-denying policies and handling our students, which with the massive shutdown of schools largely across the state here, we're going to drop into the lower 10 or so of quality students for quite a big price, bang for a buck. Any use of a position of leadership as a teacher is an abuse of power. There needs to be accountability. The school should not be used for social indoctrination or social conditioning, but should be there to teach and educate the students in values, in things they need to know to succeed. And obviously, reading, writing, arithmetic, math, and on and on. But I don't know why we become so politicized here. So,
does he have a beef? Does he have the ability? And Dave, have you? School board themselves, school board members, and I know this is a pain in the you-know-what. I got it. But, is it something, Doug, that Dave should be lighting up with State Representative Schemmel and bringing you in and bringing you into the email trail going, listen, I'm a taxpayer. Harrisburg has got some purse strings. Is it something that he should bring Congressman John Joyce in on as well?
Yeah, at this point.
Can we bring the heavies in?
After the local approach. Right. If you, Dave, if you get no recourse locally, you continue to request a meeting with the teacher, request that of the principal. I want to have an in-person meeting. I want to hear from the school board what they're going to do about that. If all that fails, then you start working your way up the chain. But this is more readily and more quickly resolved at the local level. Today we were talking about, in my office, coincidentally, in Harrisburg, about a voucher system that we had been promised 20-some years ago by George W. Bush. It never happened. But I think if we introduce, but that's going to take time. And by the time that happens, it's probably going to be too late.
And Dave, here's one more for you, and then we got to let you go. Think about also being in touch with our law program tomorrow morning after 10 o'clock. You're a taxpayer, and it's despicable that a teacher has got no courage to back up the her signature. And then also, here's what I'm teaching your kid. You've entrusted your kid to this teacher, the school board, the school district, and you're not getting any satisfaction, and you're getting the runaround. I'd have a conversation conversation. What's the legal recourse after all of this? And I know you're tied up. I know you're trying to just pay your darn taxes so your kid can get to school here. But think about a call into the law hour and find out what is your recourse if I don't get any satisfaction out of the school board, out of the teacher, out of the principal, out of the all the admin levels that make up these ridiculous school districts throughout Pennsylvania. I know that's not the final answer, but hopefully this helps a little bit, my friend.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, in the fight with you, my friend. Thank you. 877-709-1037. So, standing by on the first one there. Who is that, Bill?
We got Caleb from Gettysburg. He wants to talk about how the Constitution is written in Pennsylvania.
Coming right up.
Alexa instructions now on demand for your smart speaker. Visit newstalk1037fm.com. Alexa, powered by Klein Collision Repair. Everything from the smallest scratch or dent through major collision damage. Tell the dealer, tell the insurance company, it's Klein Collision Repair. C-L-I-N-E. Klein Collision Repair. And then tell Alexa how satisfied you are.
Did you know Cumberland Valley Christian School has been in session since the beginning of the school year? It's time to see what Cumberland Valley Christian School can offer you. Open house tours. Cumberland Valley Christian School offers quality education with spiritual emphasis, strong athletic programs, and reasonable tuition for K-3 through 12th grade. Schedule a virtual tour today to see how you can partner with your child's education. To register, visit them online at cvcsblazers.com or call 717-264-3266.
It's got to move from here to there, and you've got to move it. You need a trailer solution for your business, for your fleet, around the house. Finally, you have a choice. Your new trailer solution. Trailers, 5745 Molly Pitcher Highway. Crystal and Brandon Arthur, neighbors you know, now have your tilt, roll-off, deck-over, and dump trailers to get whatever from here to there at the all-new Rex Trailers. These American-made trailers vary in size and application, plus a service to get the right solution for you and your budget. It has got to move from here to there, and you've got to move it. Rex Trailers is an independent distributor of Texas Pride Trailers and Belmont Trailers. Finally, new trailer solutions direct to you with focused help and service during and after the sale with the all-new Rex Trailers. You're going to save money. RexTrailers.com, 5745 Molly Pitcher Highway. Financing available weekdays 8 to 5, Saturdays 8 to noon. Get your next trailer at Rex Trailers. RexTrailers.com.
It's not the Republican Party versus the Democrat Party.
Talking about what matters.
It's the Republican Party versus an organized crime syndicate.
On News Talk 1037 FM.
www.uscgboating.
Fox News.
I'm Jimmy Fallon, and I'll have your mugshot medalist in this week's Crazy Crime Olympics next.
Businesses that run like clockwork establish routines they trust. That's why over 1 million companies rely on Cintas. We'll help you protect employees and customers with essential safety supplies, inspect your fire protection systems and devices, hygienically launder your uniforms, and keep you well-stocked with the leading hand sanitizers and disinfecting wipes. Learn how Cintas can help you open your doors with confidence.
Oh, I'm ready!
Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
The bronze goes to a United Arab Emirates man who stole a baby camel to give his girlfriend for her birthday. Cops say the camel caper took place right before Valentine's Day, which is crazy because if he waited until the day after Valentine's Day, he could have bought it half off. But alas, guys don't always think straight when they're trying to get a little hump. The silver goes to a Washington man who stole a 400-pound slide from a public playground and attached it to his son's bunk bed. Don't ask me how he got it home, but once he did, it was all downhill from there. On the plus side, this is one of the few stories this week that won't divide us politically because the playground perpetrator is more of a swing voter. Get it? Because, and the gold goes to a Canadian man who was caught in the Detroit River with 185 pounds of marijuana tied to his body. This was the second time he's been busted for trying to smuggle weed across the border in the past year. Let's hope this arrest finally teaches him that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Good night, everybody.
That's your Fox News commentary.
YTI Career Institute, enrolling now for medical billing and coding or respiratory therapy classes. Starting March 22nd, go to yti.edu and apply. YTI has everything you need to change your life. yti.edu.
Is called The Colonel on The Call. State Senator Doug Mastriano returns in just a couple of your calls and a stacked list of folks that are ready to talk. Caleb is out of Gettysburg. Bill, who are on 2 and 3?
Tom from Greencastle on Maston Church, and Kevin from Chambersburg about teachers and curriculum.
We've got room for you at 877-709-1037. Local news. We check traffic first. Interstate Garage Doors Traffic Center is sponsored by Kubota, reliable #1 seller Kubota subcompact and compact tractors, designed for easy operation, matched attachments. You test drive and you buy your own Kubota at Franklin Tractor and Equipment in Chambersburg. The path through Chambersburg, not a problem at all. You just have a couple extra friends and neighbors on the road doing errands, doing out for a little bit of Friday dinner, enjoying the mild temperatures, but I don't see a big, long 45-minute to hour-long delay. It's a little tight in the borough, East Queen Street, a traffic jamming up there, Radio Hill, to be expected as we are at the peak of the commute. As you make your way home, thanks for dialing in the Tri-States News Talk 103.7 FM with more of our visit with State Senator Mastriano just moments away, 5:35 Friday evening, 62 degrees.
This Tri-State News Update delivered by Premier HVAC Services. Buy a new heating and cooling system at their cost. No money down and as little as $13.23 a week. Call 597-9900.
More pharmacies prepare to give out COVID-19 vaccinations. I'm John DeMaster from the TriStateAlert.com newsroom. 10 more CVS pharmacy locations across the state of Pennsylvania start offering COVID-19 vaccines. CVS will now have 19 total pharmacy locations offering that vaccine throughout the state. Meantime, at the TriStateAlert.com, Washington County getting 12 applications for consideration to the Board of County Commissioners of Washington County. Attorney Clint Barkdale and former Mayor Bob Brucci, who ran for and won the council seat, being on the list for commissioner.
Of that list of 12, certainly he is one that emerges as and whether he has the traction within the Republican committee to receive the nod to get the appointment remains to be seen, but he certainly would be one that you would think is the front runner in this.
Hear that whole conversation at newstalk1037fm.com. And the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission lifting the moratorium on shutoffs for non-paying customers next month. That helped many Pennsylvanians in the midst of the pandemic, and that's being lifted April 1st. But utility providers have to develop payment plans for their customers, with arrangements being based on incomes, and customers can still request a shorter or longer payment arrangement. Maryland residents will have a bit longer to file their taxes, and there won't be any penalties or interest tacked on. The new extension runs through July 15th. Your next news in 30 minutes, breaking news at once. I'm John DeMaster on the Tri-States News Talk, 103.7 FM.
As safety concerns rise with COVID-19, McCrae Heating and Air Conditioning wants to make you aware of the steps they're taking to protect their team members and you, their valued customer. The McCrae teams are aligned with the CDC recommendations with every home or business where they perform heating or cooling service. The McCrae way is to remain committed to their communities, providing service in the most healthy way possible. For additional tips on keeping your home or your business healthy, visit McCraeWay.com. McCraeWay.com.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota subcompact and compact tractors. Our reliable #1 selling tractors are designed for easy operation and feature all the performance-matched attachments needed to tackle any job. Right now, get 0 down and 0% APR for 60 months, plus save up to $1,000. First, see us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Antietam Tractor and Equipment, Hagerstown. Franklin Tractor and Equipment, Chambersburg. Fulton Tractor and Equipment, McConnellsburg.
Conference tournaments are tipping off. Bubble teams are making their final push. Top seeds are preparing for what they hope is a long run. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is putting new customers in the center of the action. Bet $4 on an underdog. Win $256 if they win. It's that simple. That's bet $4 on an underdog in select college basketball games, and if they win, you collect $256. Link is open. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code ANDREW when you sign up to turn $4 into $256 if the underdog of your choosing pulls off the upset. That's code ANDREW, ANDREW, for a limited time, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Pennsylvania only, new customers only. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Satellite weather from Sellers Funeral Home. Pre-planning your arrangements reduces stress, makes emotional and financial sense, and prevents unnecessary burdens on your loved ones. Plan for your peace of mind. SellersFuneralHome.com.
From the McCraryWay.com Satellite Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Pat Pagano. Tonight, clear and sun, some clouds, 50. Sunny on Sunday will be in the mid-50s. Mainly sunny for Monday, 45 to 50. My forecast, always on demand at newstalk1037fm.com.
Virtual consultations are now available for your air conditioning and heating needs. Virtual consultations with McCray Heating and Air Conditioning. Safe, convenient, simple. Visit McCrayWay.com.
Tri-States News Talk 103.7 FM, local and live. At 5:40, we'll rapidly go through some of our calls to speak with the Colonel. It's 877-709. I'm Pat Ryan, along with Bill DeMoss. Mr. DeMoss.
Good evening, Pat.
And the Colonel is seated and ready for the second part of the show at 877-709-1037. We'll start in Gettysburg, if that's all right with you, Bill. Yes?
Yep.
All right, Caleb, it's all yours to speak with the state senator, Colonel Doug Mastriano. Your question, please.
Good evening, Senator. I'm calling about constitutional carry in Pennsylvania, specifically Second Amendment preservation. Could you give me an update on the state legislators' part in restoring the Second Amendment in Pennsylvania and nullifying federal regulations that would restrict the Constitution within our state?
Thank you, Caleb. That is a rock solid question there. So obviously Article 1, Section, I'm reading this here now. Article 1, Section 21 of the Pennsylvania State Constitution says the rights of the citizens to bear arms in defense of themselves and the state shall not be questioned. And obviously that's stronger language than the U.S. Constitution. And the rights to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. One thing, and you rightly point out, so we have a bit of a conflict here. We have federal law and regulation, and also there's been challenges at the state law. And I will defer to the law hour tomorrow morning on this question here, but the courts have been clear anyways that, and here's a quote from one of their decisions from 2003. While the right to bear arms enjoys constitutional protection like many other constitutional rights, it's not beyond regulation. And we've seen increasing moves and challenges to regulate the industry and your right to keep and bear arms. So what we're trying to do, what I'm endeavoring to do in the Senate is I recently introduced a co-sponsorship memo. It's called the Right to Bear Arms Act. And basically, this hits, I think, to the core of your question. And if not, please fire back at me, rhetorically speaking. But the summary of my bill is it prohibits the enforcement of any new federal restriction, prohibition, registration requirement for firearms, magazines, and ammunition. It also prohibits the use of any state or local resources to enforce any new federal restrictions, prohibitions, registration requirements, or purchase or ownership of firearms accessories. So what we're trying to do, Caleb, is to reassert under our federal system the state rights that we do have in the system. And so sadly, in many situations, they've been co-opted at the federal level. So my last thought on this here is obviously there's always diligence about these freedoms. Over this past year, how swiftly so many rights are swept aside, and how even a segment of the population is willing to infringe on your rights for speech and and living your life as you see fit. And so the purpose of this legislation is offer additional protection, and it's obviously going to be a big political fight to get it through the Senate and the House. But we are blessed on the House side, especially because we have a gentleman called Representative Rob Kaufman, who's the chair of the Judiciary Committee, and he is the champion, and he holds at bay some of these initiatives here that are designed to infringe upon our freedoms.
Caleb, you got a follow-up, or does that satisfy right now where we are?
My follow-up is just the amendment in itself, the process of nullification on federal law. I do understand that you said that there's a little bit of a crossover, and that they seem to match up to a point. Being a history person, James Madison said, there is a process of refusal to cooperate with officers of the Union. And so far, there's 16 states that are passing permitless carry bills or constitutional carry bills, and 17 coming in May, I believe, with Utah. Is there a bigger push that Pennsylvania can be making against the federal government regulations when it regards to firearms?
Yes, and so a big step in that direction, of course, is my legislation I just read to you. It's called the Right to Bear Arms Act, and that's designed to solidify your God-given state rights there from any infringement at the federal level. I do believe a colleague, I'll have to double-check these, like to be factually accurate. I do think I have a colleague here that's trying to shore up the right to carry as well. And because obviously you go from state to state here, if you want to drive across the Maryland border there, you got to be careful what you got on you, because you can get in some big trouble, or Jersey for that matter, where they'll even ask you if you have a weapon if you have a Pennsylvania plate. I mean, if that's not what it is, or entrapment.
Caleb, thanks for the call. Very helpful.
good.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
At
Caleb.
877-709-1037. Let's jump over to 2. And 2, Bill?
Tom from Greencastle, he wants to ask about wearing masks in church, the mandatory masks.
All right, Tom, it's all yours, brother. Go ahead and ask.
Yeah, we're reevaluating what we're doing at church, and I wanted to check on the current status of mask being mandated in the actual worship service. Back in the 11/23/2020 statement from the governor, it appeared to be an exemption for certain restrictions that may have included wearing of masks. And I just clarification on the current status of that.
Yeah, thank you. And obviously this is a tough issue because, some churches remain closed and doing online, and that's their right. That the elder team, the leadership team, the priest, the minister, it's their congregation, and other congregations have been open, interesting enough, largely from the Anabaptist tradition. The more pacifist elements within our region are fully open, and no social distancing or masks. Obviously there is our state, and I'm going to get a bit of detail here because it does matter, context. Our state was founded in the late 1600s by William Penn, who was a Quaker who went to jail several times in England for his faith, for his choice of Christian denomination. So when he came to Penn's Woods, and this was given as a grant from the king to repay a debt to his dad, he wanted this to be, as he said, a holy experiment, a seed of the nation. And Pennsylvania really is the seed of the nation. This whole idea that, down in Virginia, that was the seed of the nation, it's nonsense. It was Pennsylvania. And because of that, because of the religious freedom perpetuated in Pennsylvania that set an example to most of the other colonies in the 16 to 1700s, place for dissenters, covenanters, Amish, Mennonites, you just go, Baptists, Jews, etc., for a haven where they could live their lives with their own preferences and with their own desires and without any pressure from the state. So there are strong protections and exemptions for religious worship. And so, for instance, in my church, I actually printed up a copy of the First Amendment that protects your religious beliefs and exercise thereof from the federal level. And then also I quote from the state law, which is actually stronger than what's in the U.S. Constitution, and it's very strong in that nobody can infringe on your type of worship for any reason whatsoever. It's very clear. So these recommendations and edicts coming from our Secretary of Health and the governor, you'll notice that they have been very, I'll say, judicious or careful in checking on churches. And I know it's happened maybe in some of the communities towards the east, but that would be a invitation to a massive lawsuit and contravention, despite the emergency powers of the governor. That would be a big contravention of the legal freedoms that we have to worship as we see fit. So the decisions remain local. The guidance and protections from Governor Wolf and the current acting Secretary of Health, you'll just have to keep tracking with them. I mean, they tend to change with the winds, and obviously now, according to what we heard from the president last night, this is going to drag on through the 4th of July, and Governor Wolf will abide by that. We will not open up prematurely.
My recent walk into services, though, was there. I could sit down and I did not have to mask up. So that's
a local congregation's decision. So I say all that context historically is that you have freedoms to worship as you see fit, and if the congregation wants to abide by those rules, that's up to them in the end.
What do you say, Tom? A follow-up, or are we all set here?
No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the call at 877-737. Let's take a couple seconds, and what's next on 3?
Kevin from Chambersburg about teachers sticking to state regulations and curriculum.
All right, Kevin, you're coming up in just a matter of moments as we continue. Colonel on the call at 5:49. Kevin is next.
A fireplace would be perfect right now. And with up to 6 months of interest-free financing, it's time to get that project done. Visit AESHearthandPatio.com. AESHearthandPatio.com.
Are you looking for a career program that can really make a difference in your life? YTI Career Institute is the place to go for medical billing and coding or respiratory therapy. YTI also offers careers in business, computers, criminal justice, culinary, healthcare, and trades. YTI has everything you need to change your life. Our next start is March 22nd. Right now, application fees are being waived due to COVID-19. For more information, visit yti.edu and apply now.
Easter is April 4th this year, and Olympia is your Easter shopping spot. This is Tony Pananis, and I'm excited for Easter. Olympia has peanut butter eggs, foiled Easter chocolates, and jelly beans galore. We have dozens of different molded chocolate figures and colorful Easter gummies, too. Jellycat plush, toys, books, and puzzles. Olympia Candy Kitchen in Chambersburg, Hagerstown, and Olympia. Quality makes the Olympia tradition that much better.
Does warmer weather have you? It's the perfect time to sign up for Andrews Farm Market CSA program. Starting in May, you'll get a box of the tastiest, freshest, locally grown fruits and vegetables every week for 24 weeks, bringing you an exciting variety of vegetables and the sweetest top-quality fruits from their farm. Pickup available at a neighborhood location near you. Sign up for the Andrews Farm Market CSA program before April 1st to receive 10% off. Visit andrewsfarmmarket.com today.
Greencastle Golf Club can't wait to see you soon with amazing membership deals you won't find anywhere else. Call for details, 597-1188. This year, make it Greencastle Golf Club, 597-1188.
All right, 5:51, 9 until 6 o'clock. Seconds, precious seconds left with State Senator Colonel Doug Mastriano. And earlier in the hour, we fielded a call from Dave in the Waynesboro School District, and Dave was concerned about a teacher who was working, it sounded like, as Dave framed it for us, working up her own curriculum outside of what was being directed from the state. Dave didn't know where to start. He had reached out to the teacher passed the buck, and principal, not necessarily that engaging. So we go to the next telephone call here on 3 one more time.
Kevin from Chambersburg.
All right, Kevin, let's hear what you have to say with the Colonel on the call, please.
Yes, for the gentleman, David there, wouldn't that be a violation of the state curriculum guidelines because they're set within, certain parameters that they have to follow? Just pick and choose what they want to teach.
So we hopefully we have a subject matter expert calling in a second here, but there is leeway given to the instructors and teachers, so they're given a base curriculum, and they can augment from other sources that would help facilitate their training.
Do that follow-up there. I didn't have you on the air there. What was your follow-up? Did you have a follow-up for the Colonel?
No, not at all.
Okay.
He pretty much answered the question.
Yeah, it's not a great story. And thank you very much for the call at 877-709-1037. Is that our expert? All right, let's go to Michelle Jansen, who's got a little bit of insight on this for not only Dave, but also, what was it, Tom?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, Jansen, what do you got?
Well, the problem with curriculum is teachers are free to bring in their own stuff separately. That does not have to go through the school board. That does not have to go through the district administration. And the 1619 project, which people may be aware of, the New York Times, the encouragement of all the idea of critical race theory and systemic racism and equity and all of this, they encourage people to go to the Pulitzer Center, which has all kinds of free education material for teachers. This is where a lot of teachers are getting it. And the teachers don't, they think this is good stuff. So, but we do need to hold this accountable. We do need to ask the school boards to review all the curriculum and look into the stuff that might be being brought in independently of the official curriculum. Parents need to demand to see this curriculum and see what their students are being taught. I encourage everybody to go to the Pulitzer Center's website and look at the K through 12 education materials that they're offering to our teachers. And remember, teachers are trained in critical race theory, in critical theory for their teaching certificates, for their degrees. That's been going on for decades, and it's getting more intense now.
Hold on just a second. She's shot out of the cannon here. Where on earth is it written, or how did that ever come to pass? And Doug, I think that goes to Dave's point as well. The legislation of what you can bring in your own stuff at your own time whenever you feel like, and you have nothing to answer to there. That doesn't sound like it's really working on the taxpayers' behalf, does it?
Well, I mean, it assumes, I guess, the best intentions of teachers. And 90% of the teachers out there are fantastic. They care about the students, not to indoctrinate them. And so you want to give them leeway. It's like, hey, I have this work, this piece from Shakespeare that I think would help, hit that point home. But obviously it's being abused. And I agree with Michelle, and thank you for calling in here. The parents... So if you're not getting through to that, alone, it's time to rally the rest of the parents here to get this set, in order, because I'm sure if the rest of the parents in that same classroom find out that their students are being indoctrinated, and that's an abuse of power there, that's a position of trust that teacher has, and for them to use that as a platform to perpetuate very questionable and iffy and left-wing ideals, that is unsatisfactory. There needs to be accountability. That teacher should have had no reason not to engage Dave, and the fact that the teacher ran and hid behind the principal, and that the principal doubled down on top of that is troubling. So it's time probably to mobilize the student body, the parents of those students in that school there to affect change.
All right, Jansen.
Yes. Start with the school board. That's the place to start. And if they're teaching your children differences about race, if you're white or you're black, you're this or you're that, you're an oppressor, you're a victim, that's crossing the line of civil rights violations as well. So parents need to get involved.
All right, Jansen, thank you. At 877-709-1037, let's do this. And a couple more seconds, if we have room, with the state senator, Colonel Doug Mastriano's Colonel on the call, 556.
Alexa instructions now on demand for your smart speaker. Visit newstalk1037fm.com. Alexa, powered by Klein Collision Repair. Everything from the smallest scratch or dent through major collision damage. Tell the dealer, tell the insurance company, it's Klein Collision Repair. C-L-I-N-E. Klein Collision Repair. And then tell Alexa how satisfied you are.
Valley Christian School has been in session since the beginning of the school year. It's time to see what Cumberland Valley Christian School can offer you. Attend their virtual open house tours. Cumberland Valley Christian School offers quality education with spiritual emphasis, strong athletic programs, and reasonable tuition for K-3 through 12th grade. Schedule a virtual tour today to see how you can partner with your child's education. To register, visit them online at cvcsblazers.com or call 717-264-3266.
It's got to move from here to there, and you've got to move it. You need a trailer solution for your business, for your fleet, around the house. Finally, you have a choice. Your new trailer solution team, Rex Trailers, 5745 Molly Pitcher Highway. Crystal and Brandon Arthur, neighbors you know, now have your tilt, roll-off, deck-over, and dump trailers to get whatever from here to there at the all-new Rex Trailers. These American-made trailers vary in size and application, plus a service to get the right solution for you and has got to move from here to there, and you've got to move it. Rex Trailers is an independent distributor of Texas Pride Trailers and Belmont Trailers. Finally, new trailer solutions direct to you with focused help and service during and after the sale with the all-new Rex Trailers. You're going to save money. RexTrailers.com. 745 Molly Pitcher Highway. Financing available weekdays 8 to 5, Saturdays 8 to noon. Get your next trailer at Rex Trailers. RexTrailers.com.
I won't give up the ship.
Talking about what matters.
This country is too great to throw over to communism. I love it.
On News Talk 1037 FM.
It's a security that comes from being a part of 400,000 people who share not just each other's
Well, I don't know what that is. Let's bring Doug in for the last couple of seconds here. Doug, I've got about a minute and change here that you make it all yours, please.
Well, happy to let everyone know that, we'll promise to defend life, and we myself and Senator Judy Ward and Representative Stephanie Borowitz, we've reintroduced a heartbeat bill. Of course, all the legislation disappeared on 30 November, 11 p.m. So we had to reintroduce this here. We hope to have a good rollout on that in the next week or two. Monuments Protection Act. is back in place here. So if somebody wants to remove a monument from state, community land, there's a process and not a bunch of vandals assaulting it, in disorder. Election integrity introduced yesterday legislation together with Senator Pat Stefano in Somerset County to get rid of no excuse absentee balloting. Also, we're going to introduce, hopefully next week, legislation to strengthen and protect poll watchers so we have more accountability, more transparency across the state than what we've seen last year.
Have a good weekend. Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much. Very helpful to everybody here, and we'll make a path for Fox News top of the hour. And thanks for joining us for another edition of Colonel on the Call. And Bill, thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.
Fox News next from Dick's Home Care. From home oxygen to sleep therapy, beds and bed products, and mobility aids. You turn to Dick's Home Care. 800-473-4352.
WEEO FM. This is the